We're in hard times and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Solo 1,000 se necesitan para hacerla permanente.
Su donativo ayudará a estudiantes con becas.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Demostremos que en la unión está la fuerza.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana en el Departamento de Vehículos de Motor más cercano o llama hoy al 321-277-0850.
¿Necesitas un abogado? Detente. No contrates un abogado simplemente por haberlo visto en un anuncio comercial. Lawyers Consumer Directory te ofrece la solución para todo tipo de problemas legales, tales como inmigración, bancarrota, divorcios, entre otros. Y hasta te ayuda a cómo contratar un abogado. No te rompas la cabeza buscando la solución cuando la tienes en tus manos. Adquiérelo gratis, sí, absolutamente gratis en cualquier 7-Eleven.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV. Welcome to 2013. This is our first show of the new year. I'm here with my co-host Daisy.
Happy New Year, everyone.
And Jose.
Nanu Nanu.
Nanu Nanu. That's a big improvement from last year.
Really, it
You
is.
increased your vocabulary. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about whatever's been happening this week. Guns is the big thing right now. Okay, Obama is he's kind of inching up to an executive decision on weapons, assault weapons, and automatic assault weapons, and everybody's digging in because there are two sides to the story, and there's this constitutionality of the right to bear arms. So the president, the NRA, and gun owners don't feel that the president has the right to tell anybody what to do about guns, considering that we are the most prolific exporter of military aggression in the world, and that we produce more guns for everybody.
That's right.
We supply the warplanes, the tanks, we supply all this stuff all over the world, and then when it hits home, everybody gets upset. Okay, who's going to go first, Jose?
I love guns. Guns are so
Well, you were a
beautiful.
cop, weren't you?
Yeah. So,
Didn't you carry
Listen.
this big gun and beat people with it?
listen, no, I carried a Kel
With the
light.
butt like that?
Kel light, you do that with. You know, so, but anyway, the gun issue. The hell with the gun owners and what their rights are and what their concerns are. I understand a gun, it's in and of itself did not cause the 21 deaths or the 26 deaths in Connecticut. It was a guy off the hook that did it. However, we need to implement laws that at least tightens up the availabilities of people getting guns, whether it's in gun shows, which they defiantly just did this past month in Connecticut, about an hour away from the crime scene.
And I understand that after the shooting also, the gun purchase rate skyrocketed.
Right.
Double than what?
More than double.
Yeah, more than double than what normally would have occurred.
Do you know why?
Yeah, I know why.
Okay.
The fact that, okay, here you have, again, the president trying to implement issues where, okay, let's stop the violence by stopping the purchase of just anybody coming and buying guns. So what do people do? Oh, we don't like the president saying certain things and doing certain things, so I'm going to go buy a gun right now just because. Again, everything should be taken into consideration. He's trying to implement some laws to protect some of the innocent people from getting hurt by people that purchase guns. But believe it or not, a lot of the people that have guns buy them legally. And most of these, if you ever think about all the Columbine and the Sandy issue, the individuals that had the guns were respective citizens. They didn't purchase the guns in the back alleys. They actually had license to purchase these
Well,
guns.
the guy from that did the school shooting recently, his mother purchased the guns.
Correct.
It wasn't him, it was his mother.
Correct.
So she didn't follow gun procedure, and that is you lock up your triggers and you lock it up in a safe.
And he already had a mental issue question.
And that mental issue was exposed. It wasn't something that they found out after the fact. It was something that the mother was aware of.
Exactly.
And she still did not take the safeguards that should have been taken.
And that's what I'm referencing. Don't blame the president because now he wants to hold people.
Wait a second. I'm blaming the president?
Yes, you're always knocking my president down. Okay, he's my president, whether you like him or not. He's our
Do
president.
you like him?
Yeah, I like him.
Okay, so we got to be on opposite side of the fence. I got to knock him a little bit.
No. Okay, but what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
According to Daisy's world.
My world right
Okay,
now at
all
this
right.
moment.
Okay.
We're talking about the guns issue, and what I'm saying is that people purchasing guns right after the president is wanting to regulate how the purchase of gun is ridiculous, is what I'm saying.
Well, you can't stop that. People have
You
the
can't
right. We're in a free
stop that.
society.
Yeah.
The
People
concerns
have the
about
right
the
to buy whatever they want to
magazines,
buy.
the concerns
we're not
about the
talking about that.
capacities, the loading capacities and stuff like that. There
That's what I'm
is
referencing.
a need with some viewpoints that if the government went sour, we need to have exactly the same kind of weapons that the government would have to use.
And I understand that.
Okay,
That's
so-
that's a valid point. However, I'm talking about normal individuals, normal citizens. Let's get laws in place where, okay, restrict people from having a certain amount of guns. Why do you need, let's say, 100 guns?
Because there are people who are professional gun collectors.
But
Okay,
not
and
everybody's
it's a hobby for some people.
Okay.
It's a hobby for some people, and they do that. I know 2 people that have at least 30 to 40 guns. And those guns range anywhere from the 1830s and 1810s all the way to modern AK-47s. So they're collectors. They're people that are into it. And then you have people that service guns who have a tremendous amount of guns. It's very hard to legislate something that's in the Constitution, number one, and number two, that is you're legislating something that has to do with mental illness. Okay? A person who goes out
You can't
and shoots
control that. That's
yeah, like the
something you
U.S.
can't
government did
control.
over the border when that border guard got shot, and it was the U.S. government who supplied the weapons.
Yeah, but
Okay?
you're always going to
So,
have you're always going to
that's
have
my-
crooks
that's my
within
point.
the system.
That's-
That you
know
can't
what's gonna
stop
happen?
that either.
How much does cocaine cost?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
sniff cocaine. Do
Okay.
you know?
No, well, I can
Oh,
tell you
okay,
this.
I
I can
mean,
tell
I
you
don't
this.
know.
I can tell
Do
you
you
this.
sniff cocaine? Do you know?
Listen, I can
Not
tell you
today.
this. If cocaine wasn't illegal, okay, there wouldn't be a massive organized crime syndicate selling cocaine. When you take the guns off the market, all you're doing is you're going to quadruple the value and you're going to create an underground market to sell guns. And people are still going to buy them. There's always somebody in the market to buy.
I'm not saying that people should not purchase guns because I, for one, I am a believer of guns.
Do you own any guns?
I'm not going to tell you that. That's none of your business.
Well, it's okay. You're defending, and we want to see what your position is on defending.
Let's back this up.
I want to make sure that you can defend your position and that you're just
Don't
blowing
worry
hot
about
air
me
on everybody.
defending my position.
Well, I'm worried because you're blowing
All I
hot air
know
on all
is
these
that
people
if
in
you're
the
not
audience.
invited to my house,
Okay.
just
All right.
be
Okay.
aware.
All right.
Okay.
Okay,
So you got a dog.
So
She
you're
has a
not,
dog.
You're not a
I
gun
like
owner.
pets.
She's not a dog.
You're
That's
not
why
a-
you're not invited to my house.
You're not a gun owner, but you support the right for people to bear arms.
Correct.
How would you go about curbing then the use of illegal firearms or the extended magazines and stuff like that, that are going on?
Again, there should be some regulations as to, first, whom, like you said, okay, you have professional people that purchase the guns. Okay, you're going to use it for recreational. Have some kind of criterias and restrictions as to those people that are actually purchasing the guns.
And what is that criteria? You're going to
Well,
go and say, okay, you look mentally sick because your nose is twisted.
I mean, you're
How
not a
do- how do you-
doctor. You don't mentally
Well, then
diagnose someone like
how do you
this.
know who to issue a license to?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to build some kind of criteria where, okay, not just everyone can
The
purchase.
criteria is convicted felon. That's a criteria.
You know, convicted
okay?
felons
If you're a
are
convicted
not
felon,
going to go to a
if you've
store and
been,
buy a
if
gun.
you have been If you have a documented police report that you have been child abuse, spousal abuse, anything like that, it's off. But if your record is absolutely clean, okay, absolutely clean, you're going to be able to apply and get a gun.
That's fine.
Okay, the problem is that when you apply for the gun, you're of sound mind, okay? 3 years later, something could have happened to you that now you're not of sound mind.
Right.
That's where the hole is. And that's not a hole that you can plug. You know, we got 300 million people in the United States. You are going to get people, look at how many people die of gun accidents in a year. How many people?
Plenty.
Okay? Now compare that to how many people die of car accidents. Are you going to outlaw cars because 50,000 people a year die in car accidents? Because, what about DUI?
Yeah, but again, we're
You get a
looking,
guy,
but we're
DUIs
actually
kill
looking
people,
at the usage
right?
of it. Okay, you're talking about a car accident. Everyone uses a vehicle for transportation to go to and from work, to
Yeah.
make money,
And everybody
to take the
uses a
kids.
gun
No,
mostly for
not,
protection.
there you go. Everybody? Really?
Yeah.
Everybody?
A lot, 1 out of 10, 1 out of
We're
50,
not
12.
in those third world countries. You don't see people walking
Listen,
with
I got news for you.
handguns
I got-
and all kinds of machine guns
I
or
got news
whatever
for
guns
you. You know
want
and I
them.
know there are certain neighborhoods that you're not going to walk through unless your car is locked. You know that. Okay, that happens to be a fact. Okay, and you know if you're in the New York City subway, okay, at 2 o'clock in the morning, you'd rather be packing than not packing.
Of course.
Okay, especially a woman. All right. So there are circumstances which arise which you need self-protection. Now,
True.
it can vary what kind of self-protection you have, but you're never, ever, ever, you know, this is all a political dance. Right now, we got the fiscal economy going down the chute, and all of a sudden, it's off all the major medias. The fact that the Congress didn't do anything about the money situation in the country, they did nothing to
Well,
cut
they
the budgets.
divert, again, we can't
What
touch
they're
that.
doing is
Diverting,
they're
destroying,
shifting-
they're shifting mindsets of people.
Exactly.
I mean, we
to
all know
something
this.
else, so that the
We don't see
real
what the real
agendas-
problem is. Yeah.
Exactly, and the real problem is the United States economy right now. It's not individual incidents, which are going to continue to happen. Go and legislate all the guns that you want out of the world. Legislate, okay, no automatic weapons.
It's not guns
Somebody's
they're
going to
concerned
walk
with.
into a theater again
Right.
with an automatic weapon and open fire in 3 months or 6 months. I mean, look at Fort Hood, right? The guy in Fort Hood, he killed 13 people.
Right.
Everybody was packing guns there. The guy was a lunatic. Okay?
You can never prepare for a crazy person. A crazy
That's
person
my
just gonna-
point. That's exactly my point.
But we can do things for mental health. We can do things
Correct.
by having
Have some kind
a
of
tight
regulations. Yes,
for gun owners
registration
and stuff
for
like that.
who is actually purchasing these guns. And again, maybe, okay, what are you using
Again, let me show you something. You are mentally fine in 2013.
But
In
that's like playing
2015,
Russian roulette, you
That's
know?
exactly right. And
That's-
that's what our society is about. We live in a free society.
We live in a
So are
gambling
you saying we
society.
should- What if
Everything
you
we
wanna call
do
it- we
is
live-
a gambling
Listen, we live in a free
scenario.
society.
Yes.
I don't want anybody coming into my house and telling me what kind of Pepsi I can drink. Okay, like they're starting to do in New York. Oh, you can't buy a big size Coke because no good for you. So I'll buy 4 little ones that are twice as much. What's that? What are you legislating here? You know, you cannot legislate out sickness out of a society.
Would it
That's not gonna
work?
happen.
Would it work then if you register the guns every 2 years, re-register it just like you do motor
I
vehicle?
think that would work.
Would
But
that
then-
work?
Well, no. You know why? Because then the guy is mentally ill. So what does he do? He walks in there. Oh, you look okay. Your eyes look okay. You know, here it is. You know, you cannot legislate mental illness out of a person.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if we require all gun owners to go through that process every 2 years, would that in turn create a little bit more of a safeguard of our weapons? Because right now what we're talking about is 2 different issues. We are talking about the size of the weapons, but we're also talking about the
regulation of it.
the how many bullets each gun can carry.
Oh,
whether it's a
okay.
ring, whether it's 30 rounds, whether it's 10 rounds, whether it should be just 10 rounds.
Jose,
Well, the type.
I don't care if it carries. You can have a Glock. Okay.
Right, and it carries plus 10.
It carries the Glock. A Glock carries 15
Right.
in a regular one. Okay. You can pick up an extended one anywhere, and it's a handgun, and get 30 rounds out of it.
But that's what they're trying to regulate. That's one issue
But those
of the
things-
process to regulate.
But you don't have to buy that in the city. You can actually. There are people who make that in their basement. You know, there are people that can make that. You know, it's not something that requires a scientist. This is, something that you can. A guy who knows how to manipulate a little bit of metal can do it in his basement. Gunsmiths, they do their own.
It's not going to be a pure bill. I mean, it's not going to be a
It's
pure
all,
thing.
you know what I say? It's all political. It's unfortunate it happened.
Yeah, 21
God
kids,
knows
yeah,
it's unfortunate
26
that it
kids
happened.
that were killed.
But
That's
and
not,
again,
that's
here-
political.
It took a dramatic situation again to address a problem that we probably threw in the back burner.
Well, we
in
did,
previous
and we've
years.
done it repeatedly.
And
you know
it's
why?
gonna happen
But you
again.
know why? Because it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. Every time it happens, everybody's, whoa, what do we do about it? That's what's going to happen.
This time is
Correct.
different. This time we have to do something.
Well, this time
there's
it's because the president that's
21
in
6-year-olds.
place now wants to make a
21
change.
Come on, Jose. We
Exactly.
drop a bomb in Serbia and it kills 106-year-olds.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about here in our country, in the United States.
All right. We're talking about the United
Okay.
States.
We're talking
Okay.
about Connecticut.
And it's
We're
going to
talking
happen
about-
again.
We're talking about you sending your 6-year-old off to school, not knowing whether he or she is going to come back at the end of the day.
Well, what you need is prevention. Like everything else, you need prevention. And the only prevention, you can do a safeguard. That's all you can do. You walk into a bank, they got the big plastic things up because people kept on jumping over the thing and robbing the bank. You need safeguards. Unfortunately, people say that the most pressured possession that we have is our children. Anybody can walk through a school building anytime they want. I mean, last week I went into a school building, an elementary school building. I walked straight through. Nobody said anything to me. I just walked in.
We can't create armed guards for each.
Why not?
It's impossible.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. We can't.
No, it's not.
You don't think the
Columbine-
money, but you
Columbine
don't
had-
think the money invested in
I
that is
understand.
Columbine
I
had
understand.
But do
officers
you
there.
not
No, no.
think the money
Columbine, for
invested
example,
in
had
something like that?
It's a deterrent.
Right.
It's a deterrent. Now, whether it works or not, that's all we can do is deterrence. We cannot legislate out the rights of a society to protect the society because the most important thing to protect is your freedom. But anyway, guess what? You talk too much. We're
you
taking a
talk a
break. We'll be back in 1 minute. And this is Danny Ramos, Hispanic Speak Out TV. We'll be right back. We're in hard times and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Solo 1,000 se necesitan para hacerla permanente.
Su donativo ayudará a estudiantes con becas.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Demostremos que en la unión está la fuerza.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana en el Departamento de Vehículos de Motor más cercano o llama hoy al 321-277-0850.
Hi, this is Danny Ramos and welcome back to Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you every week on Bright House Cable TV for the past 9 years. We're on Channel 49. You can visit us every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on this channel. And I'm here with Jose, the co-host, and Glenda,
Hi, Danny.
alias Lolita. All right, so let's, we're taking a break. We just did the gun thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the banking situation. The gun thing has thrown everybody off the air. We don't know what's happening with the fiscal cliff. We don't know what's happening with foreclosure. So bring us up to date.
Well, basically, the Independent Foreclosure Review was a third-party investigative team for mortgages that they were hired by the bank. So, you figure the banks are going to investigate themselves. How fair is that system really going to be?
Well, Obama doesn't have any money to hire anybody anymore.
He makes plenty of money. He invents it out of the air all the time.
Oh, yeah,
What are
he-
you
with
talking
printing
about?
press. He's
Yeah,
got
why
the
not?
mimeograph machine.
There's plenty of money to get around. What's
There you
wrong with
go,
you?
man.
It just doesn't have any value.
Let's go.
There's plenty.
Hey,
But
I
no.
like him.
Okay.
I
When did
just
that
don't
happen?
like what he does.
When did that happen?
Well, that happened when he had the beer with the guy, you know?
Oh, I see.
You know, he had the beer party.
Kumbaya.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but what happened, I mean, in the very beginning, it was so obvious the way they had structured questions on the independent foreclosure review. And what that was about is obviously the fraud and the scamming that went on trying to help families before they lost their homes in foreclosure. So I will never forget this day, December 31st, as I was working very hard for my clients. At the eve of December 31st, independent foreclosure review was shut down by Congress.
Oops.
Oops. And the reason is exactly the reasons. Who
Wait
knows?
a second. Congress shut down the banks investigating themselves?
Yeah, pretty much. They did, yes.
There must be a bigger thing under there that involves them.
But here's what happened, and there was something more sinister behind that, is that there is going to be a settlement of $8.9 billion. It was $10 billion. I don't
It's
know
another
how-
settlement. There's
Yeah, another settlement. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So
And what's the
basically,
purpose of the settlement?
well, the settlement is right now with only 14 major lenders, when independent foreclosure review had 27 lenders that were fraudulently stealing homes from people in foreclosure. So I'm thinking as time goes on, they're going to realize more complaints are going to come through with other lenders. So therefore, you know, it's going to get bigger. But you know, what's really 8.9 billion, 10 billion to these big banks at the end of the day? What is that really?
Nothing.
Drop in the bucket for
It
them.
really is.
Yeah, it really is.
But what's
So
it
these.
to this John Q. Me? I lost my home and stuff like that. I'm out in the street, and yes, the bank took my home illegally. Then and yeah, we got this great settlement. How's that help me?
Well, I'm not really sure right now because it's all up in the
It's
air.
not only that, it's now you have to have a lawyer to retrieve the money, and he's going to take half. So by the time you get done, you're going to owe money again.
Still back in the same place.
No, I mean, I try to be as optimistic as I can, which is very difficult for me. But you know, I am hoping that something will good come out of this. I just don't know the avenue to get there because you know you have so many entities in the federal government. You know, the Comptroller of Currency, you have the Department of Treasury, you have the Consumer Protection. Da 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 da. I mean, there's so many entities supposedly protecting the public. So I don't know how Congress is going to say, okay, well, who investigates the banks now, and how are we going to
Well,
decide?
the basic idea is that they don't want anybody investigating the banks.
Well, of course.
Well, with the
You know, they just don't want anybody investigating the
Of course.
banks because everybody's in bed with everybody, and the banks give tremendous amounts of lobbying
Yeah.
money to politicians.
That's right.
And the whole system is corrupt.
Absolutely.
Do you agree?
Well, I absolutely
Do you
agree.
agree?
And I'm going to tell you, it even goes on a smaller level because David J. Stern's office was the first office to be shut down when he instructed his employees how to copy and paste and make your signature all of a sudden appear on documents or, you know, robo-signers, all of a sudden, you know, their signatures appear on documents. So he taught his employees how to do this. There was internal emails that were found, him instructing his employees to do that. Then we have Marshall C. Watson, was doing the same exact thing during the same time that David J. Stern's office was closed. He finally was just shut down 2 days ago. Now, the crazy thing is, he gets to reopen his firm again. This guy literally
Why?
showed
What
his
do you mean?
employees. He literally has showed his employees in Fort Lauderdale how to steal homes by giving fraudulent documents in the courts. And literally was...
I hope you are saying something that's correct.
It is
You know what I mean?
absolutely correct.
Okay,
David J.
okay.
Stern's office was
right.
absolutely shut down for that. They were bringing fraudulent documents to the courts. And that's what defense attorneys were trying to say, listen, this is wrong. And the judges allowed it to happen. Marshall C. Watson was finally just shut down. Listen, Danny, I'm telling you, nothing.
You know, what concerns me is that we're looking at a culmination of a system that's plagued by corruption at all levels.
At all levels.
At all levels. I mean, there's always supposed to be check balances in the system, you know? And what it is that the check balances are corrupt.
Absolutely.
So
Has
there
this
is
al- has
no
that
one.
always been the case? Like forever?
I have
and
no
ever?
idea.
Or
I
is
mean-
this in the last
Are
8
we-
years or 10 years?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've only been exposed to this in the last 5 or 6 years. But I mean, and let me just tell you, there's one other firm out there. I mean, I don't know if I can say them or not, but they've been under investigation as well, and they're doing the same exact thing. And they go to the courts, they present these documents. We're telling the judge in court, these are fraudulent documents, and here is why. And the judges don't care. They absolutely do not care. So there is one in Tampa currently right now who's been under investigation.
Is it a judge don't care is a very broad statement. Is it that they don't care, or it's not, doesn't fall in their regulatory system or daily procedure?
Well, then find a judge. Well, I don't know.
If you put something before a judge and it looks okay, then he's going to say okay.
But if you can prove that that document has been altered, do you mean to tell me, as a human being, forget about being a judge, forget about being whatever you are, do you feel good knowing that that document has been proven altered?
Well, if the judge
and you're
knows
okay with
that,
well,
if the
that's,
judge knows that, then he should go to jail.
Well, exactly.
But haven't
they
we had a
don't.
bunch of
They don't.
judges appointed specifically just to handle the backlog?
Well,
And
they
aren't
brought him out of
being paid?
retirement. No, they brought him out of retirement, and unfortunately, that's been worse for us because they're not as knowledgeable are the judges that have been in it. So it's
they're
actually
suspect.
it was worthless, and they're still doing that as well. So, but no, I mean that's
So
what I'm
what's your
trying to explain
forecast
to you.
going forward in 2013?
It's going to get worse. Right now, as you know, we looked at numbers, 50,000 foreclosures per month in the state of Florida.
59.
Yeah, it's going to be
59.
happening. You know, that means
We're number one in the country now.
number
We
one
weren't.
in the country.
I think we were number 3 or number 4 last year. We are now number 1 in the United States for foreclosure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I only see this getting worse. I mean, unfortunately, it's going to get worse. You're going to see the homelessness get bigger. You're going to see these children, you know, without homes because the banks are just kicking them out and moving forward very aggressively. So there you go. Glenda's
All right.
forecast.
By the way, we have a newspaper called Estrellas Cristianas. It's a Christian Star newspaper. We have a really kick-butt story in there about human trafficking, and we also have a story in there about the Orlando Homeless Coalition, which is going to surprise a lot of people because the Orlando Homeless Coalition is funded by the city of Orlando, and we actually have photographs of the inside of that building with homeless people. So it's really, really an expose. That'll be on the newsstands. It's going to be in every 7-Eleven starting next week. Okay? So we're coming out with some really hard stuff, and it's a newspaper that we're putting out. Anything else, guys?
Next week, we're going to start tackling the question of cancer.
And the reason why we're going to start talking about that is because I am a cancer survivor, okay? And I was treated at Florida Hospital for a long time. And, you know, I go in for my regular checkups every 6 months. And so far, you know, there's nothing coming back and everything is cool. But for a period of 2 years, I was on, you know, being treated. And I'd like to talk about that because of the high death mortality rate among Hispanic men having to do with prostate cancer because of the examination process of prostate cancer. So I think that that's really a valid story. It's a very big story for the Hispanic community because, and I had an accountant who died, okay, his name was Richie Fernandez, and Richie died because he did not want to go get a checkup. Okay, and that's that machismo thing. It's the whole. So you know, next week we're going to talk about cancer. We'll have a doctor come on, so it'll be a show that we can certainly give you some hands-on information, because we'll have people here, including myself, that have actually had cancer and gone through the process of survival of cancer. This is Hispanic Speak Out TV. Tune in every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Glenda will be here, Daisy will be here next week, and of course Jose. And the show is dedicated to talk about things that a lot of people don't want to talk about in the community. So we will see you next week. And our website is HispanicSpeakOut.tv. Look us up. Thank you.
¿Necesitas un abogado? Detente. No contrates un abogado simplemente por haberlo visto en un anuncio comercial. Lawyers Consumer Directory te ofrece la solución para todo tipo de problemas legales, tales como inmigración, bancarrota, divorcios, entre otros. Y hasta te ayuda a cómo contratar un abogado. No te rompas la cabeza buscando la solución cuando la tienes en tus manos. Adquiérelo gratis, sí, absolutamente gratis en cualquier 7-Eleven.